bridges, you name it.
Yeah, but kids don't have any public liability.
Yeah, but it's who pays for that all in the end? It's not like you can leave the Super Nintendo on, slap the cartridge of SimCity in, go to school, set conditions right so you earn some money so you can go and build more when you get back home from school. It's not that.
No.
These Mighty Morphin Power Rangers have got a lot to answer for.
No, it's a protection racket.
Oh, right. Okay. So
they're in league with the dudes in the rubber suits.
Right. Okay. So as long as the fat envelopes are coming for protection.
Yeah, they're going to keep doing
I dedicate this new building. Here's the cornerstone. This is going to be... Yeah. Let's go back to
Look, you did ask a
Fukushima.
question before we went randomly off topic, is why they would reopen this beach near Fukushima. And look, I think it's thus. Now, the Japanese people are a slight people. They're a very light in colour, if that's not racially horrible to say. They're fairly pale, wouldn't you say? That most Japanese people are quite white.
You mean the colour of their skin?
Colour of their skin.
You're not judging it, you're making an observation.
I'm making an observation.
You're making an observation, okay.
And, this is probably the best place in Japan, hands down, to get a good glowing tan.
Probably is, though. With all the whaling and large fish that they catch over in Japan, they should feel safe going in the water, really. Don't you think?
Yeah, well, there's nothing there to mutate, is there? Because they've eaten it all.
This is The Burble with Benny and Az.
Just when you think that there wasn't any other ridiculous news story, this is rather tragic. I have to... If this story makes you feel uncomfortable in any way, Az or Burble listeners, then I'm very, very sorry. But it did happen. It is news, and we are here to report it because we feel that it is under ridiculous circumstances. A woman has been declared dead. She died after being crushed under her partner when they fell 9 stories whilst having sex on a balcony.
Me dead.
It's believed that he survived after she cushioned his fall at the tower block in St. Petersburg in Russia. According to witnesses, the man staggered back into the building and went upstairs to join his friends.
What?
He dusted himself off, right?
Left her there in a crater.
In a crater. When police turned up, they initially thought they were dealing with a murder and a sex attack after finding the woman with no clothing on the lower half of her body at the base of the building. They also found a TV at the scene and believed it may have been the murder weapon. However, after dutiful deduction, they got to the end of Cluedo and found out that it was old mate from 9 stories up. He did it with his witnesses told them about the couple having sex in the flat before falling.
Right.
9 stories. There's the crater mark. You can see where the cops have tried to hose off the blood.
Wow.
Unsuccessfully. They'd been at a party in the apartment and she had sex with 2 others. So he was thirdsies.
Why don't we get invited to parties like that?
Well, look, I'm a portly sort of gent, and I think that my rate of falling would... Yeah, it's not going to be pretty.
No.
The witness alerted what was going on when one of the other men threw a TV out of the window. So that's 1980s.
Isn't that rock star style?
That's Van Halen right there.
Yeah.
Rock and roll.
That's some Spinal Tap kind of shit.
Yeah, but despite the fact that she landed on a grassed area, which you'd think would be softer, the woman was killed instantly.
Well, not from 9 stories.
The man was, he only sustained minor injuries and has been tracked down and is currently under investigation, according to reports.
Wow. Russia.
9-story fall, mid-coitus, land on the grass.
Do you reckon he, finished when they landed? No, seriously, this is a question that needs to be asked.
Maybe because he's gone back upstairs instantly to brag to his mates. You know how blokes talk. He's going up there to tell her about it. Oh, she's just napping down there. Don't worry about it.
She'll be right.
Loose talk, even looser opinions.
This is the best show on earth.
This is The Burble.
Speed round ads. Now, this isn't a story that's happened in the news. It's actually something that happened to me earlier today that I wanted to run by you and the Burble listeners just to make sure.
All right.
Now, listen, busking, okay? Sometimes you hit gold with buskers.
Yeah.
Okay, you hit gold, you appreciate it, and sometimes those buskers will go on to become amazing artists. Have a look at Bernard Fanning, in Brisbane, busked all the time, in the centre of Brizzy, was in band Powderfinger, massive hit. all that kind of thing.
Yeah.
Shepherd did the same, all that kind of thing. Doug Anthony All-Stars.
Yeah, they busked in Canberra.
The Doug Anthony All-Stars busking in Civic in Canberra. There's actually a little plaque in the middle of Civic there in the shopping precinct. And they came from busking. Every Saturday morning, people used to go down to Civic just to watch the Doug Anthony All-Stars and do that kind of thing. Anyway, today, I finished work, right? My gainful employment, popped into Woolies. Just needed to pick up a couple of things, all that kind of stuff. And there was a busker playing out the front of Woolies. And, she wasn't playing as we were approaching the entrance of the actual Woolworths supermarket. But when we got about maybe 5 feet away, sprang into song, got on the guitar, all that kind of thing. Now, at that stage, I don't feel like I'm ready to maybe pop some money into the case because I'm 5 feet away and going into the shops.
You haven't heard enough.
I haven't heard enough. Allow me to have a little bit of time to spend some money, maybe get some change that I can then partake into putting into the guitar case to support the arts.
Fair call.
So it was me, my fiancée, and also a work colleague of mine who we carpooled to our job today, okay? So anyway, I finished up and we were waiting for our work colleague to pop out through the self-serve checkouts at Woolworths.
Sure.
Me and my fiancée are there, and then I dug into my pocket to find some change to give to the busker. Right?
It's unlike you.
It'd be definitely unlike you. You
carry coins.
Yeah, but you hang on to your money like you hang on to your balls, like it's about to be stolen.
True.
So anyway, I'm fishing through, and then I look at my fiancée when I realise what I've actually got in my pocket. Amongst having a couple of dollar coins, a 10-cent coin, 2 20-cent coins, I had a 5-cent coin.
Okay.
I had a 5-cent coin. And
yes.
I looked at her for a moment, and she's got this wicked sense of humour like I have as well. And she goes, "Are you really going to do it?" And I said, "Well, I want to support the arts." Now, I wasn't impressed with the 2 seconds, of folk song I heard.
I was going to say, what was on the menu? What was the playlist?
It would have been a story about how they sailed it.
Would have made Mumford and Sons hard.
No, well, maybe. I mean, it's some type of song of making their way to Botany Bay or some shit back in the 1700s.
Australian folk music.
Yeah, folk music like that. You know what I mean? Like, why do they call it folk music? Is it only just those folk that like it?
Folk, if I know.
So anyway, I said, look, I'm going to. I was scooching around the coins in my right hand,
right,
to see what I was going to give her, and then in the end, I just picked the 5-cent piece. So
because you're an ass.
Wait, stop. Hang on. Let me get to the end of the story. Then we'll discuss such things. I exit without even looking at her. I planned my drop, and you could hear it drop onto other coins. The 5-cent coin left my fingers. Gravity took over. Chink. Didn't even look at her or break a step. Kept walking. So she's like, "A nice head botany bag. Thank you. Botany bag," and kept strumming away like that. And I then walked away. I was right next to my fiancée, and then I said, "Yeah, she's not going to be real thankful when she finds out exactly what I dropped, which is only 5 cents." Now,
you're an ass.
Why? Because I gave her money? Because
you made a production out of it.
I didn't make a production.
Everything you do is a production.
How's that a production?
You didn't look at her. You planned the drop. You knew what you were going to do. You were like,
no. Yep. I'm sorry, Az. I need to speak to you about this because how in the hell is it any different than begging for change? Now, listen, she's there. She knows she's there. She's got a guitar case open. Now, I actually stood behind her because she was outside the glass window, okay? I checked to see what was actually in the guitar case. No gold.
Right, so that tells you something, doesn't it?
Does tell you something, okay? But how dare you tell me I'm an ass when I actually contributed to it? Are you telling me that there's a going rate that you have to donate above a certain amount? A certain amount?
But I mean, the 5-cent coin is like really useless in this day and age.
I understand that.
Like, it's going to take her more time, effort, fart-assery to get this 5-cent coin home.
Hold on a second. Is she there to earn money or just for the joy of actually playing the music now? Now, is she relying on it, like gripping, like
was she a school kid? Was she just a young girl?
Oh, no. She had some miles on those tires.
Right, okay. So she could be doing it for the love of it because she is singing folk music. And you know what people that are into folk music are like? They're pretty militant when it comes to folk music. So she may have been forcing her folk opinions on you. And in that case, yeah, put her out by giving her a 5-cent coin.
Well, no, look, I contributed to it. Now, are you telling me there's a minimum? Okay, all right. I'll change tact here to see if I can win you over. Okay.
All right.
So at Christmas time, you get the kids busking. They hardly know how to play the violin, right?
Yeah.
Or the guitar, and they're singing Christmas songs.
Yep.
You know what? Putting money in there, and I hate Christmas songs, by the way.
Yeah.
I really do. They don't apply to Australia, okay? They don't apply to Australia. Beds are burning, that applies. It's got nothing to do with cricket, but it applies.
Oh, what about Santa Claus?
It's got nothing to
Where's
do
My
with
Bike?
cricket. I mean Christmas. Sorry?
What about Santa Claus, Where's My Bike? Classic Australian Christmas carol.
That is probably the greatest Christmas carol ever, okay? You putting money in front of them there encourages them. So there's more shithouse flute or violin. I'm sorry, kids. Look, if you've got that instrument, I'm sure mummy, daddy, or whoever looks after you rather than they do, okay? If they really wanted you to succeed at that, you would go to the finest musical institutions, okay? But why do you have to make my Christmas miserable by playing shithouse versions of songs that don't even, like Dashing Through the Snow? Well, apart from these guys that had the ice in the vehicle there, but like it doesn't apply here. Like I would happily give a pineapple. That's $50. I would happily give a pineapple if a kid played Hey Santa Claus by Kevin Bloody Wilson with a violin or a guitar or a flute or
Yep.
a triangle. Get some castanets in there. I don't give a shit.
More cowbell.
Yeah, more cowbell. I would pay money to see that. Not bloody the plight of old Paddy McFarland who stole some bread and has to set up life in Botany Bay.
Toorala, too.
You're going to get 5 cents. But impress me. I want buskers to impress me. I don't want this folk shit. I don't care. and it was the... it's like, you know, as when you play, and when I walk past and drop the coin, and I know that we're in a speed round, but this is a slow story, but you know what? It's like when you pull off a fluky shot playing pool and you walk off, like you walk around to line up the next shot like you meant to do it.
Yeah.
It was like that.
Right.
So I just went, ching, heard the thank you, and I was happy with that. I'm at peace.
All right. That's
You know?
good. If you're at peace, then that's all that matters.
So why do I need to think about her feelings? I'm sure she could write some shithouse folk song about it. She'd be like, well, I was outside of Woolworths just singing a tune. I'm a simple bard. I got 5 cents and a you. A bloke hasn't washed his hair for 40 years. And before I go on, no, it's not you. It's another bloke. 40 years hasn't washed his hair. Look at this.
Oh, he's an Indian bloke. He's probably one of... Have you seen not only the Indian blokes that don't wash their heads, the ones that don't cut their fingernails?
Yep.
Ugh.
So he hasn't washed his hair in 40 years. This thing looks like... You remember that... You know how they used to fill like old pillow... Like, I don't know, I guess prisoners in New South Wales jails will know that they used to have horsehair mattresses.
I was going to say, it looks kind of like old insulation that's just being left out in the sun.
63 years old, says he hasn't washed his 6-foot dreadlocks for the past 40 years and says they're a blessing from God. Now, remember we were talking about the knits couple of weeks back. He wears his mat on top of his head like a turban and claims it spontaneously wove itself into a jada dreadlock, which he said was a divine blessing. How is that going to weave itself into a dreadlock? Now...
Can you just imagine for a moment the smell?
Yeah.
No.
Yeah,
No.
I'm digging that. As just
Well, he obviously hasn't been blessed by Weller, the god of shampoo.
have a look at his feet now. Are they his actual toes? Do you think? Because
Oh, yeah.
black.
Yeah. He's like this homeless, what they'd call an aesthetic, or like a...
He's not homeless. Look at the pink shirt there, for God's sake. It might be a little dusty at the top there, but some point that gets washed.
Well, he might not be homeless, but he lives in a shack full of asbestos on the outskirts of bloody Delhi then, for sure.
This is one of the reasons why I don't want to ever go to the subcontinent. I've got no interest in going to India, apart from trying to find those people that are trying to get your money, like go and buy iTunes cards for your taxation or whatever that is.
I got an email from them today.
Did you?
I went through my spam folder.
Yep.
And basically, there's an Interpol investigation out with my name on it.
Yep.
And the only way that I can stop Interpol from kicking in my door and arresting me is to send $250 in Target gift cards to some random some random Hotmail address. I think it's a legit.
I'd do it.
Yeah. I
You don't want to be in trouble with Interpol.
No,
They'll get
Interpol.
Gadget on you.
Yeah.
Inspector Gadget.
Or Chun-Li. She works for Interpol.
Now, he said that God told him not to cut his hair and to give up drinking and smoking out of devotion.
What do you reckon he was smoking before God told him to cut his hair?
Well, in a bid to try and keep some form